is used, right? So that probe is sending out vibrations that is sending out the sound through to the tissues, right? And then once it hits those tissues, it reflects back to the probe, right? And then it's going to create an image on your screen. So there's other complicated things that happen in between that, but that's just the gist of it, right? So it's sending out these sound waves, it reflects back to the probe, and then that information gets transmitted on a screen, right? And then how we look at the image is we call it echogenicity, right? So this, I don't know why it's not working. There we go. All right, and then so terminology, is that one thing that y'all confused about? No? You remember this stuff? You were talking about the modes. This stuff. All right. All right. All right, so the different modes are going to be used to see certain things. All right. So when we're looking at the B mode, the B mode is just looking at so without this color being in the background, what this would be is the B mode. You're just looking at the different scales of gray, and you're basically looking at how hyper-echoic or how hypo-echoic that image is. So that's without this. So a B mode is just, think of B as basic, the basic mode. Okay, I'm just looking at this stuff. Yeah.
What areas would you use B mode in?
For your tissue. So ultrasound can be used for all soft tissue. Yeah. All soft tissue is for ultrasound overall. When you're starting to want to see certain things is when you're going to change your mode. Okay. So my M mode is for something that I'm taking ultrasound of and it's actually moving. So think of M for motion. M mode is motion mode. All right. And so oftentimes that mode is going to be used for cardiac studies, right? The heart is constantly beating, right? So they could come in, they could put the probe directly over the heart and look for stuff, or to get a really good visual, they can do what is called an echocardiogram, which they put the probe down the esophagus, and they can actually watch the heart and look at the different valves and things like that, right? So ultrasound is so nice is because we really get a lot of detail within what we're looking at with our soft tissue. Whereas radiology, we don't see a lot of detail, right? We just see things kind of big and enlarged and we say, oh, that's a problem. But we also have to further investigate it because that's all the radiograph is telling us is something is broken, right? Or this soft tissue is swollen, but it's not telling us why or what's going on. This we could really see down to the level of the tissues and see what's going on, okay? So M mode is for motion. Doppler, there's different Dopplers. So Doppler is basically showing how blood is flowing through these different vessels and at what velocity they're flowing through. So Doppler is for blood flow. All right. Now, if I'm using a color Doppler, this is what we have here. All right, so the color Doppler is here. So this is an image of the kidney, and it's showing you how the blood is flowing through the kidney. All right, so one thing that you guys could remember for terminology for the color Doppler is a term called BART. So that means blue away, red toward.
Towards.
All right, and that's talking about the transducer. All right, so again, my transducer is on the patient. I have to understand that the blue is moving away from the transducer and the red is coming towards the transducer, okay? Blue and red also refers to artery and vein, okay? So same thing. So again, that's just allowing me to see how the blood is traveling through, okay? All right. Power color is used to detect low velocity. So for instance, this would be used for if the vet maybe suspected a neoplasia, right? Because we know, what does neoplasia mean? New growth. So typically this might be a benign or a malignant tumor, right? We know that it has to have some blood supply, right? Because it's a tissue, right? There has to be blood supply to this tissue, but it's not going to be a high velocity blood supply, okay? So basically what we're doing is we're confirming that in fact that this is a neoplasia. Okay, low velocity, low blood volume in that area. All right. The next one, pulse wave Doppler. This is used to analyze a very small area. A small area. All right, typically we're talking about, in this case, peripheral vessels. And we're looking at the velocities of peripheral vessels. Velocity of peripheral vessels. So again, the reason why this comes in handy is because again, I'm able to see if, say maybe there's an occlusion somewhere, or there's a blockage, or something along those lines is happening. I'm gonna be able to put these Doppler settings or this pulse wave Doppler setting on those vessels, and I can say, okay, well, something's going on here. This isn't right. This is occluded in some type of way. Something's going on. All right. And then lastly, the continuous wave Doppler. This is going to use two different sets of crystals. So one set is going to receive, and then one set is going to emit. Wait, hold on. Yeah, one set receives the signal, and then the other set sends out the signal, emits the signal. All right, so that allows for me to just continuously to view something. So I can just continuously view something for a longer period of time. All right. So in our normal setting, in our B mode setting, the same crystals are receiving and emitting this signal. Whereas continuous, I have different sets that are receiving and emitting the signal. So that's how that's different. Did that help with the questions?
Yeah.
Were those questions on your practice test?
Yeah.
All of those?
Yeah. Oh, well, pretty much. I got a majority of them.
Oh wow.
Are you talking about Azuku?
Yeah. Well, not like all of the questions were about that, but all of that stuff up there.
Those are the ones that you were like, oh, okay, gotcha.
These were options to choose.
Oh, okay. So now you
They have them all as like answer choices together.
yeah. The more you know.
Yes.
Yes.
I was also asking about like I guess the different parts that you could add on to, I don't remember what, but it was like linear array and then like sector.
Oh yeah.
And I don't even remember what those go to.
And for ultrasound?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, that was for radiographs.
No, it was for ultrasound. Because it was saying what
It's saying like
probe would
for,
you
for
use
like a 1,000
on
pound
a
force.
bladder or
Abdominal
this,
radiogram or something.
and be like linear.
All the large animal questions, y'all, I'm sorry. I don't know how to help you with any of
I don't
those.
think it was specific to large animals.
No.
Because they asked another question about something else.
Yeah, it was a
But it was like
triangle with
sector.
an answer for Oh, it
Yeah.
was
Well, like
because
when
it was
each
what
probe,
shape
what shape
the
would it show?
It was like different
percentage would
probes.
be, and then when I
Or
thought
whatever.
about it, I was like, oh, duh.
Yeah.
Cause you know, on the actual ultrasound, when you have the probe on the patient.
Mm-hmm. How it looks?
Yes. In Word.
Like that image?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not exactly a triangle.
It was asking you so it was basically asking you how it looks on the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the shape.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah,
then there's
yeah.
another one that was
like
It's
a
like
week
very
or
much
so.
better. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
so
like
confused.
But does it not have anything to do with the shape of the probe itself? And then also how you position it on the body?
They weren't very specific questions.
That sounds very specific. Yeah, I know different size probes for, I guess, the size of the thing that you're gonna be imaging.
And
But-
different shape probes.
Yeah.
There was even a question about like which probe would be performed regularly.
Yeah.
And that was one of the, that was
And a
one of
horse.
the
And a horse that
And a
keeps coming up.
horse.
And a horse.
And a horse. It's very.
And yeah, and see, and the thing is, that information isn't going to be in your labins because the labins is small animal. And I don't know how detailed Bertha is with that.
Ultrasonography?
Was BART for the M mode or was it for the color Doppler?
BART is for color. Color.
Yeah, so like, one of the questions in this question is the, image that is produced on the computer screen when using a sector array ultrasound transducer, and that's the triangle one. Oh,
I'm gonna look for it because I just wanna.
Yeah, I have no idea, y'all.
The ultrasound stuff was fun.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad I was able to come in and help a little bit today.
Yeah, it was, okay. So it says like, what type of ultrasound probe is most useful for deeper tissue, far field vision? But two of the answer choices are linear and sector. Like, what is that?
I don't have that in my notes. That actually might be in your Lavin's book.
Okay, because it says linear array transducers tend to be high frequency and have a small footprint. Because the footprint is linear, the distance between the ultrasound waves is constant, and near field resolution is given.
So the correct answer is linear.
It wasn't the correct answer, but I chose that.
What was the correct answer?
I think it was sector. It was sector. It said sector transducers give good depth penetration and resolution, but have poor near field resolution.
Ariana, a lot of that is in the book that we got from this class. It's on
I
like
really like this book.
175.
Oh, okay.
It's like 180.
Yay!
It, like,
What book is that?
well, this is the like
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
Y'all have a book?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
good. No, yeah, I really like how it's like each section's like a topic and it has bullet points.
Oh,
on
I know
what
what you're talking about.
things
Yeah.
about that
Okay,
topic,
yeah.
and they ask you questions after.
Okay, yeah, okay, then that's good. Okay, okay.
That's what y'all were supposed to do today, but the first group didn't have their books by this time, so I had to do Suzuki, so I can y'all guys will do Suzuki too, but yeah, it's really good. And then there's a little bit of stuff, there's a little something in here, Big Bertha with ultrasonography. There's just a couple pages of stuff,
Okay,
so maybe chapter 16.
okay,
Well, at least in this version.
okay.
And
I'll
then
have to look at that too.
Advanced 10.
Page 175 is where it is.
All right, what else, guys?
Could we maybe go over like, with lighting and darkening an image using KDP and MAs?
We sure can. That's my specialty.
Also, which organs like do what stuff? Okay, so the sorry,
Oh, right.
poorly worded. It's saying like the gallbladder is gonna have create a certain artifact, and then the lungs do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't
It was like the halo effect with the gallbladder,
Or the
lungs, like,
linear
the
striation.
Linear striation.
Yeah, and I was like,
We didn't talk about those artifacts.
Organ specific artifacts?
They were asking my notes.
Did we talk about shadowing?
shadowing.
It was
Yeah,
the
that was on there too.
Shadowing was on there too.
Yes, there's a lot.
Yeah, with like crystals and.
Yeah.
All right, so in your Lavin's book, there is a whole chapter over artifacts.
Okay.
So that might be helpful, for artifacts.
In which book?
The radiology book, the Lavin's. That's chapter 9, I believe. Yeah, chapter 9. So yeah, but we can definitely start talking about MAs, KVP, and all that stuff, because that's what this whole PowerPoint is over.
Not ultrasonography.
Not ultrasound, nothing about ultrasound. Okay. All right, so do you guys remember what the 4 radiographic technical factors are? So the four things that